Welcome back, everyone, to day 2 of the 28-day writing challenge. I'm inviting you to join with me, and I wonder if you have decided to write your own book or maybe get a start on it during this challenge. Either way, you can do it with me, or you can just watch as I go through the process of doing it myself. Now, I'm writing a new book on marriage. I have 2 previous books. The first one is 21 Ways the Principle of Leaving Will Benefit Your Marriage, Why You Should Apply This Shocking Key to Marital Bliss. And the second one was From Mountains to Molehills, Overcoming and Celebrating Your Differences in Marriage. This third one is coming to the V in the acronym for loving. I had written a previous book called The Loving Way to a Successful Marriage, and loving is an acrostic. So leaving is the L, overcoming is the O, and valuing is the V. So I'm going to be talking about valuing each other and also having the same values in your marriage and what benefit there is to that. Now, in my book, How to Write a Book in 28 Days or Less Without Stressing Yourself to Death, I talked about one way of setting a blueprint for your book. But I also talked about 2 other ways of writing a book, and one of them had to do with speaking your book, and so I have been speaking some blog posts. And hi, Katrina. I see that Katrina is watching, and my assistant Katrina has done a wonderful job of taking oral speech and turning it into written speech, and have been making some blog posts. So I may be able to do some more of those as we go along the way. But it also talked about using previous things that you had written. So in my first book, I had 4 chapters in the section that had to do with valuing. And so I have 4 chapters under my belt already. And then looking through the blog post that I've done that relates to this so far, I think I can come up with 3 more chapters and just tweak those, because I spoke those out to a general audience and applied those more generally, but I want to apply them more specifically in the book. And so that gives me 3 more chapters, and that'll be a total of 7 chapters up to this point. Now, what I've encouraged you to do is to figure out a target goal for your book. How many pages would you want it to be? Now, I recommend your books be between 100 and 200, and it can be as low as 90 and can go as high as 250 without stressing yourself to death too much. I've decided to shoot for 125 for this book. That seems to be a trend, that books are getting shorter. People like shorter books. They like get the information and to be able to read it more quickly. Some of the longer books people do not finish, so this one would be one that I would hope you would be able to finish easily. So anyway, I have decided on 125 pages, and I have decided on shooting for 12 chapters. Now, what have you come up with? What are you thinking about? Now, if you're trying to figure out about the number of chapters and things, if you would look at similar books in your genre, just go to Amazon, look for the bestsellers in your category, and see how many chapters they are putting in their books, or see how many pages they are doing that. Now, I haven't felt the need to do that this time, but if you are new at doing this, I would suggest that maybe you would want to go over there and look at that, and that will give you some idea of numbers of chapters to shoot for. Also, looking at those titles and looking at the table of contents, which we'll talk more about tomorrow, can be helpful too. So tomorrow I want to help you come up with outlines and blueprints for your book. And so we will do several sessions of brainstorming to be able to figure that out. Now, in my case, I'm encouraged that I already have essentially these 7 chapters that need one more round of editing for sure, but that I have those 7 chapters as a foundation. So I'm thinking that somewhere like 5 more chapters would be for me. The encouraging thing to me is then I will not need that full 20 days for the writing part of this particular book. If all goes well, I won't. I would like to do a survey. I did that in the last book that I wrote, From Mountains to Molehills, Overcoming and Celebrating Your Differences to Marriage. And that was very helpful. And so I would like to do that again for this book. So I'm going to go to SurveyMonkey and create a survey. And I would be glad for some of you to take that survey. And of course, your results are anonymous as to, what shows up in the book. But anyway, I would be glad for you to take that survey, and it was very helpful before. Now, the thing about it is that the survey is not such a large sample like a scientific survey would be. But the advantage to such a survey is that it is very current and up to date. And so I'm looking forward to doing the survey. Let me see if I'm leaving anything out here. So by now, I would hope that you would have a working title. It doesn't have to, it's not set in stone. In fact, if you don't know how to start it and it doesn't sound like it's very interesting to you, well, just get you a title like what you're writing about. My working title is Valuing Your Spouse. Now, I want to come up with something that is more of an interest-getting title before I finally publish this book, but that's what I'm using to start with. So come up with a working title. Figure out the number of pages that initially you might be shooting for. And if it looks like it's less than 100, I would suggest you raise it up to 100 or at least to 90. And if you have way over 250, you might want to consider cutting that down a little bit. The number of chapters, generally a good number would be between 10 and 20. Now it can be 21 or 22 or even up to 25. And I guess you could go down as low as 9 or 8 in doing those chapters. But as a general rule of thumb, did you come up with something between 10 and 20 chapters? If not, you might want to rethink that a little bit. Tomorrow we will go into that in more depth. I will give you more information about how you can do that, and I'll tell you some of the things that I'm going to do with that too. But if you want to do something before tomorrow, then you could go to those best-selling books in Amazon that relate to your topic, and go look at all those on the first page that you come to. And I said the top 10, and just do some research, do some looking around, and see what you come up with when you do that. You may get some ideas for chapters of your own. You'll, of course, be writing those in your own words, but that you can certainly get ideas. The expressions of words in a certain order and the exact same words are copyrightable. However, ideas are not whenever you express them in your own words. So get some ideas, and I will see you again tomorrow. Hope you have a great day. Oh, and remember, you can write a book.